Can you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins? That's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever Podcast.
Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever Podcast. I am super excited. I have the one and only Gina Hanson from Mount Dora, Florida. I hadn't heard Mount Dora, but I found out it's 45 minutes north of Orlando. Gina, it's a pleasure to have you on here today.
Thank you so much, Andre. Nice opening video, by the way.
Yeah, that's specialties of my VA and assistant here, Rod. That's been a game changer to help me start growing my business with all this audio video stuff that I'm not really great at. So we're learning, and it's been a lot of fun. That's what happens. You surround yourself with people doing a lot more business than you are, that are where you want to be, and you just start copying them. And that's what I'm doing, and it's been fun to do. But hey, we want to jump right in. Anyone that's listening, thanks for joining us today. Make sure to jump in and ask any questions for Gina, and show them some love. Let's share this to your friends, and like it. And we're gonna jump in. Gina, tell me a little bit about yourself, your real estate career, your background, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome. All right. So I started out in 2007 with a little tiny boutique company, was with them for a year, did not know how to do the business at all and could not figure it out. Only did 4 transactions my first year, and those 4 fell in my lap. And it was literally like my cousin's brother's best friend's uncle's, whatever, sister.
Right.
Switched over my second year, almost left the industry and decided to switch over to new construction. Knew the builder. Builder didn't know who I was, but I knew who he was. I knew that he built a really good product, but he was a gargantuan jerk. But that's okay, because I knew that going into it. And I did it on purpose because I knew for new construction, business would come to me. And I just could not figure out how to unlock the key to this. So did that for a year and did 16 units that year, which does not sound like very much, but I did outsell their top agent 2-1. There were 5 of us side agents. And the only reason that I can put that down to is I figured out what a database is and what a newsletter is. And so that's what got me in front of everybody. And then once you find me, I just will not let you go. But I still did not know how to go get business. So I flipped over my third year and went into one of the big, huge, major corporations. And then I finally learned how to do this business. And so that was 2009, May of 2009. I learned how to lead generate. Once I started that, put my head down by 2011, by the end of 2011, we were a team, 7 of us agents on that team. And we were listing 10 houses a month, every single month, selling about 8 of those, land of short sales. And my buyer's agents were selling another 6, 7, 8 on their own. So did that, got the call to do a startup office cross country. So that was in Washington State. So I got the call to do a startup office in Virginia. So I moved to Virginia, ran my team for 1.5 years until I finally sold it, did the startup office, took it to 2.5 times as large as our nearest competitor. And then they asked me if I wanted to do a turnaround office. So I moved back cross country to the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, took over a turnaround office there, eventually opened up my coaching company in 2018. And and then got a phone call from Gary, who used to hang his license in my Virginia office. So Gary Wilson, GIA team, who I now work with, has called me constantly. So Gary had called me. We were getting ready to leave LA and said, what are you doing? And I'm like, and literally from that's how I joined the team. So that's how I got to where I am today.
Oh, that's a fantastic story. So just started off like the rest of us, not knowing what to do and just kind of figuring it out, but stayed plugged in and continued to learn, and then ended up starting a team, and then the CEO of it for a startup. That's pretty awesome. And a coaching company. So you're very entrepreneurial, and that's why you're so super successful. That's awesome. Hey, Laura, we want to reach out to say hi to Laura. She's jumped on and say hello to you, Gina. So that's awesome. Thanks, Laura, for jumping in. If you have any questions, please ask. So let's get into. We'll just ask you a few questions and then to share. Would you like? How did you hear about EXP? And obviously, like you said, you heard from our partner in crime there, Gary Wilson. But what were the top two things that really excited you about making that move? I mean, you were with this other company doing really well. And what was the top two things that had you come over to EXP?
That's really good, actually. So the top two things about EXP, I can't really say that there were top two things. And the reason why is in my career, I've learned not to follow a what, but instead to follow a who. And I believe that all opportunity lies in a who. We think it's a what. We think the next step is a what, but it's not. It's a who. And what happened with me specifically is I began to pick my head up and realize that I really wanted a financial mentor in my life. And once I decided that that's what I wanted in my life, I started looking around over who is this going to be. And I was going through my head, and I know a bunch of people that are really well, and I'm like, is it this person? No. Is it that person? No. And then lo and behold, and I'm going to back up one second. The reason why I started that is because I had a friend challenge me when I said, hey, look, I want to learn this whole financial side of everything. I had a friend challenge me who said, how many leadership books have you read? I was like, I don't know, 20 million. And then he said, yeah, how many financial books have you read? My checkbook. Like, that's it. So I was like, clearly I need someone. I want to fast track this. I want to find a mentor. Now, during that time, Gary had called me. Gary's called me. I met him in 2011 in Virginia. And then he's just kept in contact every year or two. He's just called me, and we've kept in contact over all the years. So fast forward 9 years, Gary called me again 3 times over the space of maybe a week, and we just kept on not connecting. And so finally the third time we connected, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And while we were talking, and Gary was telling me, look, I want to help build your business, and I want to work with you. And I know that you're very entrepreneurial, and that's what I would like to do. And I was all of a sudden in the back of my head, it went ding, 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 ding. I'm like, you mean like financially mentor me? And he's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And I stopped and I was like, Gary, you're not going to believe this, but I've been praying for about 3 months to get a financial mentor in my life. And Gary over the phone said, girl, I have prayed 10 years to work with you. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. And that is literally why I joined EXP. I'd heard about it before. Actually, Gene Frederick called me way back when.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gene Frederick, people don't know him, the GOAT, right? The greatest of all time.
Exactly. So he contacted me, and at the time it just didn't interest. It just wasn't the right time, I guess. And then, although it would have been nice to join back then, and then maybe a couple other people who I really don't know, no big deal. And then it was Gary, and it was a who, and that's why I signed up with EXP. There was no due diligence. There was nothing. There was literally, I'm joining Gary.
Yeah, that's profound of what you said. It's the who. This is a relationship business, right? And you the people that you most connect with, that can bring you to the next level, that are sincere, and are looking after your best interests. And that's what I just feel this whole group's about. I mean, you said you were praying about it for a while, and Gary's been praying about it for 10 years to work with you. I mean, God's brought so many people to our organization out of some crazy different ways that you can't even explain, except it was him. And it's been fantastic of how the lives that we're changing. So that's cool. What was the most difficult part of being, I mean, you've been a solo agent, you've been a leader, a CEO. What was the most difficult part of those different leadership roles that you were in, and that you may have struggled with, and now being with EXP and with Gary, how has that really helped your business to get past those things?
I love this question. And because one, it just really made me think. And I think if I had to put down the most difficult thing was growing. And there's two reasons for that. The first one is I ran the team, I ran the company, I ran the other company, I ran the coaching company, and it was always me at the top. And that's cool because I'm driven and I like that. But there's not a lot of help up there. And I just so there was that. So there's not a lot of help. There wasn't a lot of don't get me wrong. I've had a lot of people who've mentored me and taught me, and thank God for that, because I owe to them. I stand on the back of giants. But not as much as I would have liked. And maybe it's my fault. Maybe I just didn't ask enough for it. So there's that. And then the second thing is trying to grow past a certain boundary. So oftentimes there's a box of some sort in the when I was the CEO of the startup and the turnaround, that box was state lines. Like it was just almost impossible. It's a franchise model to grow past state lines. You're dealing with 100 different ownership groups to move outside of those boundaries. So for those things made growth very difficult. And I really, really dislike having a ceiling over me of any sort. Really dislike that. I want to push past that, through that, over that, and all that. So I think that's been the hardest part of it prior to EXP.
Okay. So let's unpack that a little bit. And I want to shout out, we got Mr. Gary Wilson on here today, and Vince and Beverly. Thanks for joining us. If you guys have any questions, ask away, put them in the chat box, and we'll ask Gina, and make sure to share this and like it as well, get it out there. Let's unpack that a little bit. So you said, you had a ceiling before, and now you really don't. And I know you and Gary have built, the GIA team, and you're you mentioned it to me before, 27 different states, but you're one team. I'd like to unpack that a little bit, because because you're in my group, I'm in 27 states as well, which is pretty awesome. But they're on my global EXP team, but you guys have it set up that it's your actually personal team, because you guys deal with investors and agents that want to work with investors. Let's unpack that just a little bit of how you guys got that set up, so people can learn how amazing you guys have been growing your business.
I love that. So we're structured a little bit different. So we are a production team, and I think that's one of the things that makes us different. So we're not, we're a team. We're a production team in 27 states. Our focus has been on training our agents how to invest in real estate so they can train their clients how to invest in real estate. And we do that because it allows us a different level of conversation than your typical real estate agent may have. So it's not, do you want to buy a house? It's, hey, it looks like the market is shifting in your area. I have the reports to show why I think that. I'd love to sit down with you over a cup of coffee and find out if you've ever thought about being able to take advantage of that shift. Well, what does that look like? Let's go get a cup of coffee and let's go walk through what might be a good fit for you. So we do regular residential real estate also, and about half our agents just do regular residential real estate or commercial, and that's totally fine. But then we have this added extra component, and the expectation is, or what our biggest hope and desire is, that our agents can take advantage of it also and personally invest too, and that's why we pour that into our agents. So that's, I think, one of the main things that makes us different. Because of the EXP business model, going across state lines is seamless. It is literally seamless. I've been a team leader before. I was a team leader twice. I never could have grown across state lines like this. Never could have done 100 agents in a year. And it's not me. I mean, it's Gary and all of us in together. But it just, there's no way it could have happened. It just couldn't have.
Yeah, it's the business model is we've never seen anything like it, and that's why we're here, right? It's not just state lines either; it's countries, country lines, right? We have people in Mexico and India, and we're in 19 different countries now. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. What surprised you the most about EXP? What were you not expecting when you joined, the cloud-based company?
This is really funny. The story that is being told out there, not by us, but by other people, is that you're completely alone, you're abandoned, there's nobody to talk to, you can't get any help, you can't get anything. And um, and that has not been my experience on any level. So there's that. And then the other story is there's this little game that you go into called, their world or something. And they're like, and the thing that surprised me. So first off, the support and the help. So I have my entire upline, my sideline, my downline, every other line, telephone lines. I mean, whatever kind of lines there are, I've been able to get help all over the place. And that has been amazing. So we're in 27 different states. I am in 27 different broker rooms talking with 27 different state entities and how they do it there. And it's go into the world. And within 5 minutes, I usually have an answer to my question. The world was the other thing that surprised me. And I am not going to lie. When I first got into the world, I was like, ooh, I do not like this. I am not 17 years old and I don't get the point. But then after spending so much time in there to get my questions answered as we're onboarding different people, because I don't know how it works in 27 states. I know how it works in 4 states. So I was getting all my questions answered. I was sitting down in the world with my little avatar person and at a table getting my questions answered. And I got up, or I was done. And so I was leaving my virtual world. And I actually did what I do on Zoom calls, which is I wave by. And I wave by, which my avatar is not doing. It's me doing to nothingness. And that's when it clicked what the power of the world was. The power of the world that I didn't understand that really surprised me is that we are all over the place. We're in all these different countries. We're in all these different states. And it's very easy to feel very disconnected, especially with COVID and Zooming and everything else that's been going on. But when you go into the world, because everybody's an avatar and you're actually sitting at a table talking to somebody who looks different than this person and that one over there. And this one's got a crazy hat on and that one's decorated with Christmas sweater or whatever, makes you feel like you're there on some strange level, which it took me maybe 9 months of being in the world before it clicked one time. And I'm like, oh, now I get it. So it's actually more connected than the standard offices that I've been in where you're just talking to somebody on the phone. It actually has a more connected feel, which completely shocked me. Did not expect at all.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I wasn't really big on video games either when I first got in there. And I know people can change their outfits and people do that, right? And I got the same outfit on as I had when the first day. I don't mess with it. I just get in there and go and get my questions answered, talk to the brokers or tech. I'm in the tech department a lot because I'm not too tech savvy. So I got a problem. I go in there and they do a remote session and just fix my computer for me at no cost, no questions, and never make it feel like you should know this, right? So that's the tech department is pretty amazing. I use that a lot. I use the workplace as well as another communication. I get in there even more because for me, it's faster. And normally if it's 10 o'clock at night, you can just search a question and get your questions answered without even talking to anybody. So the communication was a big surprise for me too. I didn't think you could, I was in office where you had an agent or your broker, in the room right next to you. But it took 2 hours to get to them because they were busy, had appointments, and it took 2 hours to get a question answered. And now we can get it done in 5 minutes. So that was a big surprise to me as well.
Yep.
So another quick question off the top of my head with you. You're a coach yourself. You have your own coaching company. You helping Gary run the team. Have you taken advantage of all the free coaching and training and systems that we get through the National Association of Expert Advisors, NAEA, and Jay Kinder and Mike Reese, our senior business partners? Have you taken advantage of that at all? And do your team members do as well, or not so much?
We definitely have it built into all the tools that we are able to give to our agents. For me personally, I went to the event in Atlanta. I can't remember when that was. It was a couple of months ago. I went to that event in Atlanta, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised. And the reason why is I've been doing this a long time. I've been training and coaching agents a long time. And you can always learn something. You just have to pay attention enough, even if it's just a tiny grain. But I got a lot out of it. I got an awful lot out of it. And then we had a bunch of our agents there. And so I try and do stuff like that when I know that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 of our agents are going to be at an event, I want to go as well because I want to be there with them, and it helps me get some FaceTime and connection in with our agents. So I've been able to take advantage of it that way. So our stuff's really good, and it's another tool in the tool belt. There are so many tools that are available for everybody. I've not tapped into everything. I don't know if I live long enough to be able to tap into all of it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is like drinking from a fire hose. You just gotta go through it and then decide, hey, okay, this week I'm going to jump onto these 2 or 3 trainings, and next week I'll jump onto these 2 or 3 and just absorb as much as you can and put things into action, right? We got to put things into action. Hey, I want to shout out to Michael Yusri that's on, and Tom Z. Can't pronounce your last name, so I won't try. Kathy,
nobody can.
Your tech. And we even got Laura that's watching for our YouTube channel. So, hey, anyone that's on here, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Coach Andre LaFountain. And again, get it out there with everybody. Gina, you mentioned, well, I'll just ask this question, and then you said you may get into a little background, story that you want to share. But so you can add to this question or just do 2 things, it's fine. If there's one takeaway that you want to make sure that anyone's listening today, your close friends of yours, people that you care about, people that maybe agents that you've done business with in the past, that you want to make sure they understood and take away from this interview, what would that be?
I think the most important thing, I touched a little bit on it earlier, is that all opportunity lies in a who. I really want to expand upon that one a little bit more. I've been Star Ace employee way back when I had a job, a series of jobs actually, and I've been fired, and more than once. I've been fired actually twice, maybe 3 times, but 2 that I can think of off the top of my head. And I am the same person. I show up the same. I show up on my jobs the same. The difference is the who that I worked with, and the who has made all the difference in the world, to where literally Star Ace, she's amazing, promoted like crazy, let her run everything, let her run with it, to we cannot stand you and you're fired. And that's the only difference. So I can't stress enough the importance of making sure that you're aligned with people that are going the same direction that you're going. So one of the things that I use that just reminded me that of something, when I have to face a hard question in life and I don't know what direction to go, and it could be in any arena of life, what job to take, what this, what that, doesn't matter. I take a piece of paper, I draw a line straight down the center and a line straight across. So I've got 4 big boxes. And then in no particular order, I just write down my 4 priorities, 1 in each box. And then once I have those, if you asked me today, it would probably, it would be God, health, family, business, again, in no particular order, but those would be my top 4 priorities. And then if I look at any one of those priorities as a category, so if I had family as a category, then I say, okay, what's my next priority in that category? Okay. And so for family, it would be quality time. I want to spend a lot of time with my family, quantity time with my family. And then, okay, so what's the next priority? If I have family, quantity of time, it's quality time also. And then the priority underneath that is why is that important? Well, because I want to know my family and my kids and my grandkids, and I want them to know me. And I want to leave underneath that, I want to leave a legacy, and not just a financial legacy. I mean, a whole legacy. And so look at that in your life and go down 3 or 4 levels deep, and you'll start to see some themes in your life. And for me personally, my themes are legacy, building, growth, knowing and being known, and being a real human being. Those are the core of who I am and what I'm about. So if I have to make a decision, like where do I want to work or what do I want to do, I want to know what my core is, and then I want to know what the core of that other thing is, and what lines up with my core. Because we're smart, we can do almost anything that we put our mind to, but at some point, if you're on different paths, you'll do this, even if you're right here today in the same place. So I think that is underneath the importance of aligning in with your who. I just think that would be something that I would stress with people and would teach people, would be that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that what you go through that workshop of writing down 4 different quadrants and then breaking it down 3 or 4 or 5 levels deep, right?
Right.
So I'm sure you probably did that when when Gary called you and you're thinking about making a move and you went through that exercise. That's cool. What were the top? What was? I know you keep saying, and that's most important, that it's the who, and having trust in Gary and him as a person, and joining his team. What's the top 1 or 2 things on the EXP business model itself that you really loved to help you get to some of your goals that are in those 4 quadrants? You said a couple of times about leaving a legacy. How do you think that the EXP business model is going to help you leave and build that legacy? I know it already is, but share just a little bit with that with us for a second.
It's revenue share. Revenue share allows you to leave all that, and I don't ever lead with that because but it's definitely a component of it. It's definitely part of what I'm building and why I'm building the way that I'm building. It's revenue share. It really is. It's that passive income that's going to support the life that I want, already is actually, and will allow me to do the things that I want to do. It's the freedom to build my business the way that I want to build my business, which is huge. So real estate's huge, and you'll never learn all of it. And and as soon as you do, they'll change the forms on you, or the market will change, or the laws will change, or something. I mean, it's just huge. So because it's so huge, I took the time to kind of craft what I wanted to build inside this, and everybody else can too. You get a craft once you get past all the basic stuff of what are your favorite parts of this thing, and then you get to build around that. So I like the freedom to be able to do that rather than being in a box that says this is the only way that you can do this and that's it. So I guess those would be the 2 things.
All right, fantastic. So, hey, anyone who's listening today, as Gina said, that they're in currently 27 states of people that are on their team. They're dealing with residential and investments. Obviously, they bigger in with investors and agents who want to work with more investors and invest themselves. Because of course, Gary had his whole coaching program on that, right? But anyone out there listening that had any question for Gina, make sure to reach out to her, give her a call, get on Facebook and chat with her, ask any questions. Because if you're thinking about Gina or Gary or someone on their team could be the who for you, and you're looking to leave a legacy, we want to make sure that you guys get connected and reach out to Gina and get your questions answered. But my last question for you, Gina, if you could do it all over again and join EXP all over again, what would you do differently? If anything, what would you do differently? If you don't mind sharing, if you made a mistake or I like to always ask that question so we can learn from other people's, mistakes or things that they wish they could have done differently. What would it be for you?
Onboarding. It's like, it's instant. I don't have to think about it. Onboarding, it was a complete B. I mean, oh my gosh. And I felt abandoned and lost and all that kind of stuff. And I never was. I wasn't at all. I just really felt that way. So and that's part of why I know you're building the part around onboarding that you're building. It's why I'm building the part around onboarding that I'm building. I thank God for David on our team, because I would call David up and I'm like, I am lost. And David would go, are you in front of your computer? Yes, hop on. And he would hop in the world and I would hop in the world. And then I would laugh at him because he's wearing shorts and flip-flops in the world. But we'd hop on the world and he goes, go here, click here, do this. And then I would have my answer in just a hot second. I'm like, holy moly, it was so much. It didn't have to be as difficult as it was. So when we're onboarding, one of the things that we do with our team is I'm like, I am your point of contact, period. It's a huge team. You're never going to know who to ask for. It's a million different places you can go for it to get your questions answered. Just ask me, and then I'm going to teach you, go here for this, go here for that. And eventually you'll learn it all. But in the beginning, you're not. So just come into here to one person and that would take care of it. I would have asked for a lot more help in the beginning, and I would have fast tracked my onboarding instead of putzing around, trying to muck through it on my own and try and figure it out. So that would be the main thing that I would change. Other than there's part of me that says I would have joined, when Gene called me, but I really wouldn't have. And no disrespect to Gene, I love him and adore him. And I knew him from, we worked together loosely in Virginia and in California. But it would have been nice to join a lot earlier. So that would be the thing that I would change.
All right, awesome. One real quick question before we sign off. If you're a reader, what's your best inspirational book? And if you love, or if you're a movie watcher, what's your favorite movie of all time?
I love this one. Okay. I don't have just one book. I read voraciously, constantly, 24/7. I love reading. I would get in trouble when I was a kid because I was reading all the time. I literally would get in trouble. My mom would kick out of the house, and I would slide a book at my back so mom couldn't see it. And I'd get out of the house, and we had a big old cherry tree in our backyard, and I would climb up that cherry tree because then nobody knew where I was. And I would just keep on reading. So I don't have one. I have a list. But if you'll let me do it, I'll do it. You ready?
Yeah, give us your top, as many as you want to give us.
Okay, so the Bible. First off, that one huge in my life. Think and Grow Rich was the first one that expanded my mind to the powers of what this can do. Storyworthy by Matthew Dix. No one's ever heard of that one. This guy has won more Moth Story Slams than anybody else, but it's the art of crafting a short story about your life. It's fast, it's funny, and it's really, really good. And he taught me how to do a thing called homework for life, which is every day you write down the bullet points of what was important about yesterday. And what that does is it slows time down and makes today different. There's no more blending of how, life is rushing past you and every day blends into the others. All I have to do is look back at that and go, oh yeah, that's the day I was pissed off about this, or that's the day this happened, or blah, whatever, it's that. Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull. He is the guy who ran Pixar for forever. How do I work with creative types and not kill it because I'm an organization person? So that's fascinating. Principles by Ray Dalio. Principles. Yeah. Oh, I love Principles. Principles is having rules around your decision making. Right. So so that decision making can go much quicker because you know what your rules are, your personal rules. Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown. So stand up, speak your truth, be real. Love that. The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss taught me to think very differently about, because I'm basically a workaholic. I like it. So it's not really working. And then the new Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, which is the key of the Think and Grow Rich. It's really what really goes on scientifically in your brain of why Think and Grow Rich works. So that's what that was. So those are
It's a great list. I couldn't write them all down fast enough. So I'm going to go back and listen to this afterwards and write them down so we can get some of those books. I agree with great
Principles and Think and Grow Rich.
Yes, both of them. I've read both of those, and those are great books, but I have to get some of those other ones. That's awesome. Gina, it was a pleasure talking to you today.
Can I interrupt you? Can I tell one more story?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you so much. So I was thinking about real estate and kind of when I first started going and what determines success and how can you tell who the successful person is. And when I was brand new in real estate, I signed up for this class that was an $800 class, which was this huge leap of faith for me to even sign up for this class. I'm like, holy moly, I am not making any money and I'm going to, flush out $800 on some class. I don't know if it's going to work or not. And in this class, I decided that I was going to get everything I could out of it, which for me means that if I'm going to argue publicly with the teacher if I disagree. And I know that's not what most people would get the most out of a class. But if I disagree with you, I'm either not going to do it. That's what I'm not going to do. And I didn't want that. I wanted to struggle with it, humble myself to learn because I needed to learn this industry. So we were in a movie theater. It's about 300 of us, huge class. And they auctioned off a $20 bill, first class. And so the rules were this, and they said the rules really quickly. They said, okay, we're going to auction off this $20 bill. Whoever bids the highest and wins does not have to pay for it. They get the $20 bill. Whoever comes in second place has to give the money. And it went to some charity. And then we started and goes, okay, who's going to give me $1? And of course, all the hands went up. And I'm replaying the rules in my head to make sure I've got it right because it was really, really quickly that it was said. $2, $3, $5, $10, 12, 15, and around $16, $17, hands started coming down. And I thought, no, all you got to do is win. Like he said that, right? All you got to do is win. So I've got my hands straight up the entire time. And it's going, it's $20, it's $25, $50, $75, $100, $125. All the hands are coming down. And there's literally my hand in the front of the movie theater and some guy way back in the back of the movie theater. I can't see. It's dark back there. He's got a hand up apparently. And it's down to two of us. $200, $225, $250, $275. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, did I hear this correctly? Because if I heard it wrong and I'm bidding we're over $300 now for a stupid $20 bill, my husband is going to kick my butt, man. But I'm like, don't put your hand down. I'm holding it up so I can keep it up. Don't put your hand down. Don't do it. Don't do it. And finally, somewhere way north of 300, the guy said, all right, time out. He goes, I don't know what I've done wrong, but this has never happened before and it's not supposed to be this way. So both of you come up front after the class because I will talk to both of you. And so the whole day went on early in the day. The very end of the day, finally class ended and I was right up there. And I'm like, okay, here's the deal. My name is Gina Hanson and I'm the one in the front that is, over $300 for the stupid $20 bill. I don't even care about the $20 bill. Here's the deal. I don't lose. So I'm not paying you anything. I just don't care about the $20 bill. And I would like you to know I'm the one up here who knows where that other guy is. So, because all I'm thinking of is I'm not paying for this stupid $20 bill, man. Right. So he goes, come with me. And he grabbed me, went back to the back of the movie theater and we found the other guy. And he said, okay, what's your story? And the guy said, I'm flat broke and I just put the last money into my gas tank to make it here. And I don't have anything left because I paid everything for this class and I need to make it. And I can't get home without the $20 bill. And I was like, give him the 20. And I'm not paying you either. And he goes, no, you don't have to pay me. Don't worry about it. But as I processed through that, I learned, because he made it in real estate also, I learned that determination, that's me up in the front, not going to put my hand down, and desperation will make it. Either one of those, you'll make it. And that has always struck with me, So that's my story I wanted to share. It just reminded me of this and kind of what was it that made that determined success, or what can determine success.
Yeah, that's an awesome story. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Determination, that'll make you or break you. And if you have it, you can't ever lose. You never quit. Quitting is never an option. And when it gets tough, you just keep moving forward, and you always, by the grace of God and your determination, you always get through it, right? Yep. If you don't quit. Yeah. So that's amazing. Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks for the story, Gina. Hey, it was a great pleasure. Thanks for joining us today on Financial Freedom Forever. Michael Ursery said, post the list of the books. So if you can, I know he's part of your team, right? So you can post it in your Facebook page for your whole team. That'll be awesome.
I can put it, if you want, onto your FFF page.
Yeah, Facebook. Yeah, please do. Yeah, that'd be great. I was gonna go back and listen to it. I probably will anyway, but yeah, post that. That'd be awesome. Thanks so much. We'll see everybody again next Wednesday, same time, same place, and we'll see you soon, Gina. Thanks so much. You're a rock star. I'm so happy to be in business with you.
Andre, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be in business with you, and this is an honor. I really, really appreciate it.
All right. Have an awesome day.
Thanks. You too.